Welcome, this is Raphael.
And Catalina.
You are now about to take your next step in the serenity centering journey. Welcome, I'm Raphael, and I'm here with my co-host, Catalina, and we have another quote we're going to break down. Catalina, what is today's quote?
So the quote is by Carl Whitaker, who is a physician and psychotherapy pioneer for family therapy. And the quote is,
"Shame occurs when you haven't been able to get away with the who you want people to think you are." Wearing a mask is the first thing that comes to mind, and not being secure with oneself and with who you really are. So that tells me there's been times in my life, it takes time to figure out who you are, to figure out your strengths, your weaknesses. And I think part of that, we're not just born with all that knowledge. It's an evolving process. It's a journey. And I think it's easy, at least for me, I relate to that. And I like how they say shame. I mean, shame for me, toxic shame. I've heard an acronym for shame, should have already mastered everything. But I think shame to me has to do with lies, especially toxic shame. What are the lies I'm telling myself about my true self that aren't true, that I've distorted? And what is this mask and this fake identity? And for myself, I used to always, well, not always, but many times, especially in job interviews, I would figure out, who do they want me to be? Who's the person they want me to be? I guess even sometimes in dating, who's the perfect person they want me to be? And let me try to be that. I remember some of my friends growing up in high school call me a chameleon. And I took it as a sense of pride. Like, wow, that's great. I can fit in with almost everybody. But I never got to fully be myself. And so as I've continued on my journey, I've learned the limitations of that attitude, and learning to be more comfortable in my own skin, be who I am, respectfully, have my own position. And I think it's powerful. Instead of trying to make someone think, cause myself so much stress and just more pain and difficulty. If I'm just who I am, and I like that scripture verse, let your yes be yes, let your no be no, which speaks of telling people more who I am and being okay with who I am. I don't have to put on a facade. And if you're not down with it, we know right away. If I'm pretending, being a used car salesman or trying to con you, that's not good, right? So there's a pretentiousness there that's not healthy for me either. It damages me and it damages the other person. Better to just be truly who we are. So, yeah, it's good to reflect on that. What about you, Catalina? What do you think?
I think this quote really goes into the concept that you brought up, that we do wear masks. We all have areas of our lives, areas of ourself as a person, skill sets, lacking of skill sets where we feel that we're not adequate. We're not adequate with the others that we perceive around us, and we're not adequate with what we should be. And I think it comes from a place of feeling, if I'm not adequate, then I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of respect. I'm not worthy of whatever it is that the fear is surrounding. And so it's so important because accepting who we are is actually something that you can't get from other people if you aren't accepting of yourself. You could be born into the most accepting family that exists on this planet or that has ever existed, that never criticized or never thought of you negatively, never uttered a word in your direction that made you feel inadequate. And yet if you are in your own head telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not whatever enough, that you're lacking, that there's something wrong with you, that you don't measure up to your peers, it that voice is so loud it drowns everything else out. And so I think it's really important, meditating on this quote, to think about how are you, how am I at accepting myself exactly the way that I am? That doesn't mean I can't change. That doesn't mean I don't have areas that I want to improve or to grow in. Doesn't mean I don't want to lose weight or learn something new or get married or, whatever the next thing in life is that you're focused on. But it means that I am enough exactly as I am today. And that those things, whatever they are, don't take away my value and my worth of being loved. They don't take away from my being enough. I'm exactly enough the way that I am. And so I think this quote speaks to the feeling, the anxiety, the fear, the prickly feeling in the back of your neck that happens when you experience a moment when you feel like someone saw through your facade of knowing all the answers. They saw through your facade of having all of it together or not having whatever problems you're afraid there or where you might have or whatever in insecurities or whatever. And so it's important to remember that to get that peace and to maintain that peace, that actually has to come from a deep acceptance of yourself.
I love that, Catalina. Really beautiful, everything that you said, and so important. And I love acceptance. I know for me, I've had mentors tell me, because I didn't have a lot of acceptance of myself where I was at, and even when it came to resenting others, once again, it was a lack of acceptance. So, learning to love and accept myself and others exactly as they are, not as the way I want them to be or wish I was in the moment. And I love how you said, it doesn't prevent me from striving to grow and develop. It's a journey. And I believe growing and developing is part of our journey. We do it all through life from kindergarten on, and it's a lifetime journey. So that is also a part of loving oneself. I also like to think of the flip side and plays devil's advocate. Sometimes you hear a line, fake it till you make it. And we can emulate certain people and certain qualities that we like, but it can go overboard. And that's where the problem is. When we're pretending to be someone we're really not, that's where the problem is. And it's better to be who we are. And a lot of that, I believe, comes through trial and error and practicing the art of affirming ourselves and affirming others, and hopefully receiving that affirmation from others that we're good enough just the way we are, and start appreciating those qualities. Sometimes we don't look at the good qualities we have. So I think a couple questions that I would throw out to our listeners are, what are the masks that you're wearing in your life right now, or that you've been tempted to wear, or maybe that you have worn in the past that you no longer want to wear anymore? And what does it mean to be more fully your authentic self? And the other question that I have, and we'll see if you have any questions, Catalina, would be around shame lies. What are the lies you're telling yourself that are damaging your own human dignity and pulling you back? And I challenge you, if you have those lies, to identify the truth that you know in your heart, from your experience, from your faith tradition, from your education. What is the truth? And then practice those truths, even if it doesn't feel good, because practice makes progress. Catalina.
A couple questions that I have for our listeners are, have I fully and completely accepted myself as I am? Are there any parts of myself that I haven't accepted about myself? How can I practice accepting those parts of myself?
Beautiful. Very beautiful. This was a fantastic breakdown. I really like this quote, Catalina. I think it's really helpful. Please let us know what you thought about this. Any thoughts on any of the stuff we mentioned tonight, or anything else? What's helping you in your journey towards being more serene, more centered, more kinder, patient towards yourself, and more authentic with yourself and accepting of yourself. As always, we really appreciate you. And until the next time when we break down a new quote, make sure to follow us on Instagram for more information. Bye-bye. Thank you for taking another step in the serenity centering journey. As always, take what you like and leave the rest. Until the next episode, make sure you enjoy each step of the journey. Peace.